I never imagined I would find myself in therapy. Yet, there I was, seated on a pale couch beside my wife, Cordelia. We were trying to salvage what I believed was a marriage worth fighting for, and I genuinely thought she felt the same. My name is inconsequential, but what happened to me reshaped my understanding of trust, love, and the woman I had shared my life with for 7 years. It began after I lost my job at the engineering firm. Budget cuts were to blame, but the loss of a steady income and a sense of purpose shattered something within me. I was plagued by cold sweats, sleepless nights, and an inability to focus on job applications. Cordelia constantly told me I was being overly dramatic and needed to man up and find a new job. But when panic attacks started happening in public and my hands would tremble uncontrollably before interviews, I knew I needed help. That's when I suggested couples therapy. I didn't think our marriage was failing, but I believed that if we navigated this together, we'd emerge stronger. Cordelia was hesitant, but eventually agreed. Our therapist, Dr. Reeves, was a calm, older woman with kind eyes who made me feel like I wasn't completely broken. In our first session, I revealed everything: the shame of unemployment, my feelings of failure, and the nightmares that kept me awake. Cordelia held my hand, telling Dr. Reeves how worried she was and how she just wanted her husband back. For a moment, I thought we were a team again. Then came the second session. I was speaking about my father, explaining how I always felt the need to be perfect, to be worthy of love. As I spoke, years of unaddressed pain poured out of me, and I started to cry. Just then, I heard a small giggle. I looked at Cordelia, her hand over her mouth, her eyes wide as if she'd been caught. "Sorry," she whispered. You sounded so dramatic." Dr. Reeves gave her a sharp look. "Cordelia, can you help me understand what you found amusing about your husband's pain?" "Nothing," she said quickly. "Nothing. I'm sorry, it's just, he's being so dramatic." There it was again, that word, dramatic. I tried to rationalize it, thinking maybe people cope with difficult emotions differently. Perhaps seeing me so vulnerable made her nervous, and the laugh was a defense mechanism. Dr. Reeves confirmed this was sometimes the case, but it didn't stop. Every time I got emotional or shared something personal, I'd catch that little smirk or a subtle eye roll when she thought Dr. Reeves wasn't looking. Then she started using what I said in therapy against me during our arguments at home. "Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with your daddy issues, you'd actually get a job," she'd say. Or, "Dr. Reeves says you have abandonment issues. Maybe that's why you're being so clingy." It felt like she was taking everything I had shared in a supposedly safe space and weaponizing it. When I confronted her, she would call me paranoid and say I was projecting my insecurities onto her. Things worsened when I finally found a new job. It paid less than my old one, but it was a start. I thought Cordelia would be relieved, proud even. Instead, she seemed disappointed. "This is the best you could do?" she said, looking at my offer letter. "I thought therapy was supposed to help you." That night, I heard her on the phone in the bathroom. The door was closed, but I could hear her voice, low and different, softer, the way she used to talk to me. "He's just so pathetic lately," she was saying. "You should see him in therapy. He cries like a little boy." My blood ran cold. Who was she talking to? And why was she sharing details about our private sessions? I knocked on the door. "Cordelia, everything okay?" The line immediately went dead. She came out a few minutes later, acting completely normal, claiming she'd been talking to her sister about work. But I knew what I'd heard. That's when I started paying attention, truly paying attention. I noticed the way she'd position her purse during our therapy sessions, always open and angled toward us. I noticed how she'd suddenly need to use the bathroom right after our most intense conversations. I noticed the new phone case that was always face down on the table. 3 weeks later, I found it. Cordelia had taken my car to get groceries while hers was in the shop. When she returned, she was juggling bags, her purse, and her regular phone, trying to get everything inside at once. That's when I saw her reach into the back seat and grab a small black object, A second phone. She didn't see me watching from the kitchen window. I waited until she was upstairs unpacking. Then, I went to the car. Maybe she dropped something. Maybe I was imagining things. But there it was, wedged between the passenger seat and the center console. A cheap flip phone, the kind you'd buy with cash at a gas station. My hands trembled as I opened it. The text history made my stomach lurch. Recording went perfectly today. He talked about his mom this time. God, you should have seen him sobbing. Grown man crying like a baby. Therapy is like having a front row seat to his breakdown. It's actually hilarious. The responses were from someone named Marcus. He was devouring every detail of my pain, every private moment I'd shared, every vulnerable confession I'd made in what I thought was a safe space. But the worst part, the part that made me realize I had been living with a stranger, was that she had been recording the sessions. Not just texting about them, but actually recording them on a voice memo app. Hours and hours of recordings, all sent to this person. My deepest fears, my childhood trauma, my struggles with depression and anxiety, all of it packaged up and delivered for their amusement. I sat in that car for what felt like forever, scrolling through months of messages. She had been sharing everything, my panic attacks, my job interviews, even the intimate conversations we'd had at home. Nothing was sacred. Nothing was private. And Marcus wasn't just listening. He was encouraging her, telling her she deserved better, that I was weak and pathetic, and that she should leave me. But not yet. Not until she had everything she needed for the divorce. Everything she needed. I took pictures of everything on that phone. Every message, every recording, every cruel comment. Then I put it back exactly where I had found it. That night at dinner, Cordelia asked me how I was feeling about our next therapy session. "I'm really proud of the progress you're making," she said, squeezing my hand. "Dr. Reeves is so good at helping you work through your issues." I looked at her face, this woman I had loved for 7 years, and all I saw was a stranger. A stranger who had been performing kindness while broadcasting my breakdown for someone else's entertainment. "Yeah," I said. "I'm looking forward to it too." But I wasn't going to therapy to heal anymore. I was going to gather evidence. Because if Cordelia wanted to play games with my pain, if she wanted to weaponize my vulnerability, then two could play that game. And Marcus was about to learn that some recordings should never be made.